Hello guys, and welcome back. We are finally going to making our first HTML website project. So without wasting my time, let us get started. So the website we are going to be making is in this folder right here named copy. So let me open it up and show you how it looks like. So this is the website we are going to be replicating. It looks very simple. Okay, so let's get started. First, we need to open up our HTML folder and then create a new folder. So give this a name. I'm going to name my landing page website. And so next we open up our Visual Studio Code text editor and then create two new files, one for the HTML and one for the CSS. So save as, and inside our HTML folder we will choose the landing page website folder we just created and give this a name of index.html. Let us do the same for the style. So we name this style.css and save this. So now we have our style and the index files ready. Okay, next let us generate our starter code. So write HTML and select this one, and the name we'll give to this is repos. It's just a name I came up with. You can give it a title, anyone that you want, and change this main.css name to style.css. Next, we delete this script tag as there's no JavaScript involved. It's not needed. And save this and see what we've got so far. So by opening this up, it's empty, but our title is showing up. Awesome. So what we do next is create this navbar right here. So we have 4 navigation links. So in our HTML, using HTML5 elements, the nav bar is inside the header tag. So we have our header, and within that header, let's declare our nav tags. So nav and hit tab to automatically write the opening and closing tags for us. So within this nav, we have an unordered list. That's where we'll be organizing our navigation bar links. So we have a UL for unordered list, and then within this UL we have 4 list elements. So this is the first list element. So with this list, it will contain a link. So next we write our A tag, which is anchor, which will contain our link. So write the A and hit the tab. Awesome. And so within this anchor tag, let's have our site name in capitals, which is repos. This will be the site logo. You can either use an image or text, but in this case I'll use a text. So just copy and paste this 3 times. And change the name. So we have home, we have about, and we have subscribe over here. Awesome. So save and refresh this, and we have our 4 links right there. We'll get back to the CSS later so that we will style everything. So next we have this section which says repos the best product on the market, and it seems it was written with an H1 tag. So right after the header, let's declare a section tag. So this will contain our first section. So next we have the h1, which says repos the best product on the market. In caps, repos the best product on the market. Next we have an HR line here, which means horizontal line. So next we'll write that, so HR, and then we have a paragraph and the button which says find out more. So next we have the paragraph here. Paragraph says why people keep saying repos is the best product on the market. The reviews speaks for itself. Okay, so let's write that down here. Okay, next we have our button. So the button tag with the text find out more in caps. Awesome. So let's save this and see what we have done so far. Okay, we have our horizontal line, our h1, our paragraph, and then the button. So I left a P here. Okay, so next we have this second section right here with a title, product types, with 3 generated lorem text and then a button. So let us create that next. So right after this section we have another section, so h2 this time, since it's the second header, which says product types, and then we have our 3 paragraphs. So copy and paste this 2 times more and generate our lorem text. So write lorem and hit the tab, another lorem, and then the last one. Next we have our button. The text buy now. Okay, save this and refresh, and we have the second section showing. So we have 2 more. So another section with the title of subscribe. So let's do that now. So right after this section we have another section, so an h3 this time with the text subscribe, and then another paragraph lorem text. So we have a lorem right here. Next we have a form. So we have the name, email, and the submit button which says subscribe. So let's do that. So right after this we have our form tag. So write form and hit the tab, and the form action can either be get or post. Let's use get, or you can leave it since none of the backend is involved. So within this form tag we have the name and the email. So let's create our name and our label. So we have the label tag. So the label for, let's choose name, and then the name value it will display is name. Next, we have the input type, and the input type will be text. The name for this input type is going to be full name. And we'll have an ID of this name right here, the one we gave to the label. So we have name, and let us do the same for the email. So another label 4, I'll give this email, and then the value it needs to display is email. Then we have our input tag. So write input, hit tab, and this time around it's not a text type, it is an email type. So give it a name of email, and then we have our ID. So the ID will be email, and then the name we need to give this, I'll give it a name of mail. Okay, now our submit button left. So another input tag, and this time we'll have submit type instead of email, and then you have the value that the submit button needs to show. So the value this time around is subscribe now. So in caps, awesome. Let's see what we've done so far. Awesome, we have our third section showing. So we have this footer nest which contains 2 paragraphs. So the last one will be the footer. So writing the footer tag, and within this footer tag we'll have our 2 paragraphs. So this one says Ripple's company, and then the copyright test. So in caps, Ripple's company, the copyright. So copyright, and then the way we do this copyright symbol, see right here, is to write the ampersand. This ampersand right here, use shift and hit the number 7 and write copy with a semicolon, and then we have the date. So let's do this, December 2019. Okay, and save this and refresh, and we have our copyright and the company name showing right here. Awesome. Now let us style this name and email a bit for it to appear on the next line. So right after the name label, let's put a line break over here. So line break, so save this and refresh. Okay, we have this appear in the next line. Let's also send the subscribe now to the next line by adding a line break right over here. Save this, refresh. Awesome. Now everything is working fine. We have the main info of the page laid out. So in the next video, we are going to start with the styling. So we'll style everything for it to look nicely. So this is pure HTML, the skeleton. We will now be adding the makeup, which is the CSS, in the next video. See you in the next video. Okay, so continuing from where we left off, we are going to be working with the style sheet now. So in the style sheet, the first thing we need to do is to reset the body's margin and padding. So the margin needs to be set to 0, and then the padding too to be set to 0 to reset the default browser margin and padding to prevent any browser conflicting differences. Okay, so next we have our logo separated from the other nav element. So we need to target this first list right here. So I'll give it a class. I'll give this list a class of logo. Save this, and now target that logo class that we just gave it. So logo. So the way I did this logo was I used the border property. So border, give it a value of 2 pixels solid black. So save this and refresh, and we have our border appearing. But since lists are block elements by default, it's taking up the whole block. So let us change this list to inline. So targeting the list, this list right here, nav UL list. So we have our nav, another list, and then finally our list selector, and change the display to inline. And save this, refresh it, and everything is working perfectly. All our list elements are now inline. So let's go back to our logo, and then let's add a border radius property. So this will give the square rounded edges. So let's pick 40%. Save this and refresh and see how it looks like. Okay, it's okay. So next we will give this a padding to make it bigger. So padding of about 10 pixels. Save this and refresh. I think I need to make this border radius 50%. So 50. Okay, I think this looks okay now. So we have our logo done, and the rest of the nav is shifted to the right. There are so many ways we can use to do this. We can use Flexbox, we can use CSS Grid, we can even use float. So I haven't worked with float so far, so for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to use float. So the way I'll do it is, I'll target this list element right here and put it in a div. So giving it a div with the class of right. And surround this div around this list element and indent it to make our code readable and much neat. Okay, so saving this, and then I'll place it around here and target my right class. So I'll float this to the right. So save this, refresh, and our links just got shifted to the right. Awesome. So let's get rid of this text decoration which is underlining our links. So targeting the anchor element, all anchor elements, text decoration should be set to none. So saving this, it got rid of the underline under our anchor links. and change its default color. I'll make it black for now. Awesome. So we have our links working, and then within this section we have a background image. This is a background image with everything inside of it, and I'll use a class for this. So opening up our HTML folder, I've attached two images named 2 and 3. So I'm going to be moving this into our landing page website, and then let's link it up. So I'll make a name of BG. So that's the class name I'm going to give it, which means background. And then we have the background property with the URL, and the URL, the reference we need to give it is the image name in quotes. So the image is this one right here, named 2. It's a JPEG, so 2.jpg. So let us save this, and then in our HTML with this class, this second section right here, this first section, let's give that the class of the background we just created with that image. So we have BG. Now save this and refresh, and we have our image appearing, but it seems to be only taking the size of its content. So let me deliberately set an height of, let's say, 400 pixels. Save this and refresh, and we have our height showing up, but it's not responsive and it's static, unlike the first one, which increases with the page and gets smaller as the page also get minimized. So we are going to make this background responsive, and the way we do this is we use the property background cover, so that this image will cover the whole of this content, so that some won't be shifted to the right and cut off when the page is minimized. So we have the background cover, and we are going to give it the value of cover. Background size. So we have a background size over here. So background size with the value of cover, refresh, and our image now fits, but it still seems not to be responsive. So let's position the background in the center. So background position, we have it centered. So save this and refresh, and everything seems to be working perfectly now. Awesome. So we have a background image, and then we have this navbar right here, which seems a little bit transparent. So what we are going to make this navbar. So this is the navbar right here, and we need to target it. So I'll target this whole header. So targeting the header, let me place it somewhere around here. So we have the header tag, and then we'll give this a background of black for now. So save and see if it's working. Okay, let's increase the height. So an height of like 50 pixels. Change this to blue. Refresh. Okay, let's make it 60 pixels. Awesome. Now we need to make it so that our background is a bit invisible, like the faded effect, and we can use opacity for this, the opacity property. But the trick I use in Visual Studio Code is I first write the color and then hover over it and then use this bar right here. So I drag it, so somewhere around this place I think it's okay. So I'll save it and refresh, and we have a transparent background now. Awesome. So let us push this navbar at the top, and looking at this, our navbar stays on top no matter what. So scrolling down, it still stays on top, so the position is fixed. So let us give it a fixed position next. So our header, we have a position of fixed. Save this, refresh, and just look at what happened. You know why this happened? Well, if you remember from the previous lessons, when an element position is set to fix, all the other elements on the page ignores it and pretends it doesn't exist. So that's what happened here. So let me push it to the top. So we have a top of 0. We'll save this and refresh, and we have it appearing at the top. But it's not taking the whole width of our page. So we can set the width to 100% here. But I'll create a different container for it with just the width of 100%. So a container right here, and then I have a width of 100%. Save this, and then the class that we just created, let's give the header the class of the container, which just makes it 100% width. So save this also and see if everything is working correctly. Awesome, everything is working correctly. Let us change this text, so the color should be white. Let's make the color white. So our header color should be white. But it doesn't seem to be working. Why is that? Okay, I think I found it. That's because we gave our anchor links a color of black. So let me just get rid of this black right here. Since this element comes before this one is overriding it. So I'm sure when I get rid of this, we'll have our white color showing. Still, it's showing purple. So I'll just change the color to white right over here. We'll save this and refresh, and we now have our white showing. Awesome. So next, we need to increase this H1, and then reduce the horizontal line. So targeting the H1, give it a color of white, and increase the font size. So somewhere around 40 pixels. Nope. 50. I think I'll go with 60. So 60 pixels. Awesome. But I want to change the font style. So in the body, let's have a font family. And I'll choose Sego UI. This one right here. So save this and refresh. Okay, this is looking much better now. So what we are going to do next is this H1 and everything in this box are centered, and it's taking only the middle portion of the page. So I'll create a content for this, a content class. So a class of content, I'll make it width take up only 800 pixels, and then the text should be aligned to center. So every text in this content needs to be centered, and let's have a margin of auto to keep things in the middle. So save this and refresh and see what we have so far. It's not working because I haven't given the content class to the HTML. So this is what we are going to be putting our content. I'll create a separate div for this. So I have a div right here with a class of content. Wrap the whole section of this in this content. Okay, so everything is wrapped within the div. So save this and refresh, and our div appears. So everything is working, and let's give this content a color of white so that everything will be white within our content. So get rid of this white in the HTML to avoid repetition. So saving this and refresh, everything works perfectly now. Next, let's style the button. So targeting the button class, let's choose a color. So a background with the color I used for this button was A11B1B. So I have my hash here with the A11B1B value, and then I'll increase the size. I want the padding, so the padding increases the button. So I'll give it a padding of about 10 pixels. Save this and refresh. Too little, I'll make it 15. Yeah, I think this is okay. And then let's curve it by giving it the radius property. So we have a border radius. Let's try 50%. Nah, too round. I'll give it 20. Yeah, I think this is okay. Yep. And let's make this HR white. So targeting our HR, let's make the color white. Okay, so let's next make the button hover property turn to white whenever it is hovered on. So let's put it right here. We have the button, then the column, we have hover. So inside this hover property, I want the background to change to white whenever it is hovered, and the text color should be black. So save this and refresh, and we have our white background appearing whenever we hover. But I want this mouse pointer to change to fingers, like how it is changing when we hover over this logo right here. So the way we do this is use cursor property, and then the value will be pointer. Let us increase the font weight to bold, and then the color to white. So save this. Okay, now we are done with our button and everything is appearing nicely. Next, we have the product type. So this right here, since we already gave this the content class, let's also give this the content class. So section, I'll wrap this around the content, and then indent everything. So save this and refresh. Because our text is white, everything appears, but text is white, so we can't see it. So let's give this a background. So I'll create a class for this. First, I'll name this. So I'll name it BG color for background color. So save this and put it somewhere close to this background right here. So we have dot BG color, and let's make the background the color of this same button right here. So save this and see if everything is working normally. Okay, everything is working fine, but let's increase this H2 text. So putting it under the H1, we have our H2, and the font size should be, let me give it 40. Refreshing it, let me make it a little bit bigger, somewhere 50. Yeah, I think this is okay. Yeah, this is okay. So we have the third section, which also has an image background, and we are going to use this image, which is number 3 right here. So somewhere below the BG color, we have dot BG, and let's give it the name of number of 3. So BG3. Let me add a hyphen over here. Okay, and we are going to use this exact same values that we gave it. So I'll copy and paste this, and then I'll just change this name from 2 to 3, and it's also a JPEG file. So save this and refresh. It's not appearing. That's because I failed to reference it in the HTML. So our third section with a class of BG3. We'll save this and refresh, and we have our BG3 appearing. So let's increase our H3 font size. I want it to have the same font size as the H2. So I would make a comma right close right here to the H1 and add H3 right here. So save, and also put this in the content. So we have our div and then our class of content. Cut this and wrap the div. Indenting everything now. Awesome. So let's save this and refresh, and we have everything appearing nicely. But there seem to be some spaces in between. Don't worry, we'll work on this. Let's finish our colors and other stuff for now. So we also have a second button right here, and we'll give it the same values this button has. And this uses the input type submit, so this property doesn't affect it. So I'll just create a class for it, and I'll give this subscribe as a class name. Save it before I forget, and then right under this button I have .subscribe with the same values right here. So copy and paste this inside, and then save this and refresh. Okay, our button is working perfectly now. And then we have our footer right here. So the footer color is somehow light red. So targeting our footer, we have a background. Let me make it red and choose it from the list. So somewhere around this place. Let me save this and see how it looks like. Let me just copy it right here. So this is a perfect example to teach you how to use the console tools. So in Firefox, you open the menu, Web Developer, and then you have the inspector in the web console. So choose any one of them. So we have the HTML elements that we've written all over here. So that's the container, BG, everything. So I'm going to head over to the footer, and then when I click the footer, CSS appears right over here. So I'll copy this one, its RGB value background color, and then I'll close this and paste it in my CSS. So save this and refresh, and we have our slide color appearing over here. Awesome. Now let me teach you how to open these console tools in your Chrome. So heading over to my HTML folder, I'll open it with Chrome. So I'll click on the settings, and then I'll head over to more tools and then choose developer tools. The shortcut is Ctrl+Shift+I. So I'll open it up, and then we have the same values appearing over here. So I'll click on the footer, and then this is the code that we were looking for, the color. Awesome. So let's minimize this and let us continue using the Firefox. Okay, now we have our footer company's name appearing at the left and the copyright also at the right. We can use float for this, we can use CSS grid, we can use flexbox. So in this case, since we have already used float, I'll use flexbox for this. And the way I'm going to do is, it sets the display to flex. So I have the display flex. So save this and refresh, and we have it closed now because it's displaying flex. Next, let us use the justify content property. Justify content, and then we are going to use space between. So save this and refresh, and we have a nice space between. As simple as that, and it's responsive too. So that's it. Let's increase the height of the footer to, let's say, 60 pixels. Yeah, I think this height is okay. And let's have a font weight of bold. To make it a bit heavy. Nice. So we have our footer done, and the next thing we need to work on is these spaces right here. So I'm going to give my sections the container width so that everything will be 100%. This container right here. So we have the header class already have a container. The section class need to have a container. Now save this and refresh, and nothing happened so far. So now let us target our content and increase its padding. So I'll give it a padding of 10 pixels. So save this, and this closes up the spaces that we had in between. So everything is looking nicely now. What we are going to do next is give these buttons a little bit of space. So targeting our third button, which is the subscribe now. The class we give it is subscribe, so you can give it a margin top. Margin top property, and I think I'll give this a margin top of about 10 pixels. Let me increase it a little to somewhere 13. I think 13 will be okay. Yeah, 13 is okay. And there's no hover class for this button, so I'll just copy these same values and change this to subscribe. Save this and refresh. It's still not working. I need to give it a dot. Forgot the dot right here. So dot subscribe hover. Awesome, it's working now. What are we missing next? Yeah, so we should give this nav links an over effect so that the user will know that he has hovered on home, about, or subscribe. So targeting our nav links somewhere around this place. So it's the anchor element, and it's only affecting the right side. So let's use our right. So the right hover, and let's give it the same color as this one, same color we have been using throughout the page. So save this and see if it is working. It's not working. I think it's because I forgot the anchor link. So right here, save this and refresh. Yeah, it's working now. So little mistakes in your code won't make certain things work, and you have to figure it out for yourself. Shouldn't get frustrated. Should learn to live with it. We all make mistakes, even experts. Okay, I think we are done now, and in the next video we are going to make this responsive. As when we minimize the page, it behaves funny because nothing is being minimized and the rest of the page is cut off. So in the next video we are going to learn how to make this website responsive. See you in the next video. Continuing from where we left off, we are now going to make this website responsive across all devices. So there are many ways of achieving this. So first, let me try it with the Flexbox. So I'll set this container display to flex. Since Flexbox is automatically responsive, so let me save this and refresh, and voila, we have everything responding to our page sizes. But there seems to be a slight problem here. Its content seems to be moving out into the second section. It is because the font size, the height we gave it was 400 pixels over here. So in order to make this a little bigger, we can change it, but I'm going to use the value auto so that it will automatically stretch to fit its content. So save this and refresh. We have everything working nicely now. Awesome. But then we will have to edit this nav bars and make some slight changes. But I won't be using display flex. I'll be using media queries. So clean the Flexbox property, and at the bottom of our styling, let's work with the media queries to gain a deeper understanding. So a media, and then within its parentheses we have max width. The max width the screen should be, so save this and refresh for now. Okay, so when it gets about this width, the T gets cut off from the screen. So around this place. Let us move into this responsive design mode. So web developer responsive design mode to get the exact figure that we want. So somewhere around this width, I think I'll use this one. So the value is 820. So max width of 820 pixels, and then the rules will start. So what rule I'm gonna give it? The first rule I'm going to give it is I'm going to target the content. So every content of the page is located within a container, which is the 100% width value. So the content, I'm going to give it a width of 90%. So this says this width should be 90% of the 100% container. So save this and refresh. So minimizing our browser, when it hit about this width, then our width got changed to 90% of its container at the 820 pixels height. Okay, next let's target the H1 and make it smaller. So the font size should be 40 pixels. So save this and refresh, and we have our 40 pixels H1 also working. And it seems this third header is bigger than the second one. I think I made a mistake here. Yeah, this is it. So clean this H3 up and rather add it to the H2. So selecting both H2 and H3. Okay, and then I'll select my H2 and H3 again within our media query. So we also reduce its height to, let's say, 35 pixels. So let me save this and see what I have so far. So we have everything working, and when it hits 820 pixels, then we have the changes that we wrote, and it's working perfectly. Okay, next you should shorten this horizontal line. So I'll target the HR, and then let's make the width half of the 400 pixels we gave it earlier, so 200 pixels. I'll save this and refresh, and our HR got shortened nicely. Awesome. So next, let's minimize this further to see if it's behaving funny. Yeah, I think this is okay. So let's test it in the web developer responsive mode. So clicking this, we have the responsive design mode. So in our responsive design mode, let's select the various devices. So selecting the Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. This is how our website will look on the Galaxy S9. Okay, so on an iPad, this is how it will look like. On an iPhone 6, 7, 8, this is also how it will look like. On an iPhone X. Okay, so you can test the various devices and see if everything is working perfectly and there are no errors or bugs. If there are, you can use the media queries to correct them. So let us also test this in Google Chrome to see if it's also working perfectly over there. So I'll open up my Google Chrome. PC seems to be running slow. So I'll refresh this. And then we have our website. So moving into more tools and then developer tools, we have the same thing right here. So the Galaxy S5 and the Pixel SL and the various phones. Okay, it's working perfectly. So what we're going to do next is host this website online. So I'll teach you how to do that in the next video. See you in the next video. Hello. In this video, we are going to learn how to host our website online. So we are going to upload the files online and then host it. So let us get started. So the website that I'll use is 000webhost.com. So 000webhost.com. They have a free hosting service available. So once you enter the website, just click on free sign up, and then you enter your email, your desired password, the website name, and then you click on get free hosting to sign up. But since I already have an account, I'm going to log in. So this is our website list now, and it's currently empty. So I'll just click on this plus right here, and a dialog box pops up. So my new website that I'm going to give it the name, let me name it something like my repos page. Let's make sure it has a unique name. And the password, let me just generate something simple like testing repos, and then click on create. So it's creating our website for us, and that's the progress bar. Seem to have a slow internet, so let's wait a bit. Okay, so our website has been created. So this is our website, and the URL is myrepospage.000webhostapp.com. So currently, when I click on it, it contains nothing. And this is what opens up. It says, hooray, your free website has been started. And then your website name that you created with webhost apps L or URL. So it says you see this page because your website doesn't have an index.php or index.html file in the public HTML folder. So what we are going to do next is upload these website files that we created onto webhost server. So back to our build website, we have these three options, and this is the third option that we are going to go with, which says upload own website. So upload your own pre-built website or files with our interactive web file manager. So I'll click on upload now, and this is going to open up the file manager or the control panel where we are going to be saving our files. So currently we only have 80 assets, which is the default file that are contained in our file manager. So next, what we are going to do is we are going to upload the files that we created, the website files, these files right here, onto webhost app server. So there are many ways of doing this. You can use an FTP software, like FTP means file transfer protocol, like FileZilla, or you can just come and click here, upload files, and it opens up a dialog box and you upload the required files. But they also have a drag and drop feature, so I'll go ahead and use just that. So I'll just drag everything in my folder and just put it into the webhost file manager. So all files have been selected. All I have to do is click upload and it starts the upload process. So everything is uploading. It's very fast. Okay, our files have been uploaded now. As you can see, each with the name 23 index and then our style. Everything is right here. So now our files have been uploaded. Let's see if our website works. So with our files uploaded, all I have to do is click on this L or just type it in the address bar. I'll just click on it, and then our repos page is now complete. So this is what opens up. So if you have a phone or anything else, you can type this L right in your address bar and open it and see how it looks like. And that's how to host website files online. And this is similar to any other hosting services, so it should be easy once you get this down. Okay, let's move on to the next video. Hello and welcome back. Now that we are done with the first website project, I have a couple of assignments for you. You can go ahead and play around with this website. You can even create a better looking website than this with different layouts and styles. You can try to add transition effects to these buttons so that it looks a little bit more animated. So you can visit the previous lectures if you have forgotten how to do this. You can even add font awesome icons to these navigation links right here. You can also change the sections color if you think this isn't looking too good, and you can add more sections to these too. You can even try changing the width of the content right here if 800 pixels is too little. So experiment with it and get busy. After that, you will re-upload them back to the website and make it live. So for instance, if I want to add a smooth scrolling effect when our navigation links are clicked, they seem to rush and just takes you to the section. So for instance, in my style sheet, in the body, I'll write a property scroll behavior to smooth. Saving this and refreshing it, I'll have that smooth scrolling behavior whenever I hit the navigation links now. So then you go ahead and re-upload this back to the website. So play around with it and experiment with it. We are now ready to do our second website project now.